Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Family Strengthening Network virtual summit. This is the first summit that we are doing virtually, and we're really excited to have everyone here. We've got quite a few more people joining us, but right now we've got a little over 540 people joined on this call right now. So we ask that everyone is patient with us. This is our first time holding a virtual summit. We're really excited, but I think we're going to have a really nice morning together. First and foremost, just want to take a moment and say why we're having this event. I should likely introduce myself. I'm Charlene. I'm the director of LA Best Babies Network. Hopefully you've seen me before. I'm seeing this exact event a year ago, so I'm really excited to be your host today as well. We did not want to miss an opportunity to celebrate all of you. I know we cannot be together this year. We're all really saddened by it. I know we had plans to get together, 750 people of us, but we couldn't due to COVID and other logistical things going on in this world. So with that, we decided to host this virtual summit. The theme of this summit is honoring you. So despite not being able to get together, we didn't want to miss an opportunity to bring everyone together in the network and celebrate the accomplishments that we've had thus far in the last year. Today's message and the theme again is honoring you, the sacred you, the healing you in your entirety, including all your trials and tribulations, your strengths and your growth, which is why we're here today. Hopefully you've had a chance to look over the agenda and the objectives. But before going to those, just to go over a couple of logistical things, because this is a virtual format. First and foremost, you'll notice that nobody except the panelists and the LABBN team is on video and on the microphone. And that's basically because we don't want to crush the internet today. It'll really help us if everyone stays off the microphone and stays off the camera and just allows the speakers to have all the bandwidth in terms of that, and then along with screen sharing and the spotlighting of speakers. So you're welcome to use the Q&A and chat box. The Q&A boxes can be found at your bottom of your screen. The Q&A is used for questions or comments towards presenters, and the chat box can be used for technical issues or challenges or anything like that. This is also a good reminder to check the webinar chat. LABBN staff is dropping in vital information into the webinar chat. Things like where to access the material for today, like the agenda, the objectives. Also, if you're having troubleshooting issues, who to contact along with emails. You have Larissa and Terry's email in the box as well. Martha just dropped in that paragraph as well. So make sure you check out that information. At the end of this event, of course, we'll have an evaluation. So Kayla will be sure to drop that evaluation link at the end of this event. I also want to remind everyone, just given the platform we're on, we're going to be using Mentimeter today. So this is our way of engaging you and connecting with you and hearing from you. So please make sure that you do have your phone out or a web browser, either on a tablet or computer or something like that. We will be using menti.com today for various questions. But before really getting started, we've come a long way. I was just checking in this morning with Lily from our pilot site and the pilot Welcome Baby site, I should say. And I was reminded that this all started in 2009 with one site. In January 2009, contracts were signed. Folks were hired in April of 2009, and the first Welcome Baby client was enrolled in November 2009. And 11 years later, we're here. Not only are we a network of over 750 staff members, but we have 3 models. We have Welcome Baby, Healthy Families America, and Parents as Teachers. And of course, now we're multiple funding sources as of 2018. With First 5 LA helping us pave the way, and then having Department of Public Health, Department of Mental Health, Department of Public Social Services, everyone join us. I think we really just continue to grow and serve more of the community and the families in LA County. So a big thank you to our funders for being available, and a big thank you to you for doing the work. Hopefully at this point, everyone has received their end of year gift. Those M&Ms and those plants are just a small way of a token of our appreciation to all of you, a way to say thank you for everything you've done this year. If we're able to get together again next year, we promise a swag bag similar to years before, but hopefully you've had your M&M treat and are already planting your flowers, your appreciation flowers. Some other logistical things, just a friendly reminder again to make sure that you are checking the chat box. LABBN team is dropping in vital information in there. So we want to make sure that everyone is up to date with the information. Again, you can download all the information like the agenda and the objectives from the webinar chat. I also want to remind you that this event is partially going to be recorded. We'll be recording most of the day except for one segment for about 40 minutes, which we will stop recording. With that, I do want to take a moment and engage you in a chat box, in a Mentimeter question. So I am going to screen share with you. So give me one moment. All right, on your screen, you should see my first Mentimeter question. So as a reminder, all you have to do is go to menti.com. The instructions are up at the top. So menti.com, and you're going to use the code 778027. So again, that's menti.com and use the code 778027. So you can see real time, we're getting some questions in. Question is, how energized are you feeling right now? Ooh, we've got quite a few people that are ready to party. That's great. I'm getting a lot of responses in. Happy to see, for the most part, we're feeling calm, energized. Some folks may have overdone it on the coffee with the jittery feelings. It's okay. Those responses are still definitely coming in. I also want to give my 10-year-old goddaughter some credit for this. I had no ideas you could input emojis into Mentimeter. She's the one that taught me how to do this. So a big thank you to her. So we have almost about 350 people that have responded thus far. Looks like most folks are feeling calm or still drinking their morning coffee, which is great. Give it another 10 seconds for respondents, and I'm going to go to my next question. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change the screen in just a second. So thank you everyone for engaging in this first question. Your next question, in 1 to 2 words, what do you hope to gain from today's event? So you can notice this is a word cloud, so I'm really excited about this, this image here. Again, the question is, using 1 to 2 words, what do you hope to gain from this event? So you can see the big word in the middle, inspiration, knowledge, motivation, appreciation. That's definitely, that's our goal today. We want to make sure that everyone leaves here feeling appreciated. Insight, encouragement, gratitude, sense of normalcy. Thank you for bringing that up. Joy, celebrate, connection, have fun. Well, good. I'm happy to hear that. Give it another 15 seconds. Validation, perspective. Ooh, adrenaline rush. Okay, that's great. Peace, support, reflection, bravery. Wonderful. We really appreciate everyone taking a few minutes to answer this question. I think our goal is to be able to meet most of these, given the 2.5 hours that we have today. But you know, we always talk about why do we put these events on, and it really is to celebrate you, but also to motivate you, to celebrate the accomplishments, to reflect on everything that we've done and we will be doing. So thank you so much for partaking in this. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and you're gonna likely see me again. So just a quick rundown of our agenda today. We are together for 2.5 hours today. We will be done by 12:30. The first half, we'll have some opening messages, which I'll introduce our first speaker in just a moment. We have a data presentation by Delisa and Monica from LA Best Babies Network. We then have a parent presentation by Steve and Amy and a family who will be joining us from the Welcome Baby program. Then we have our keynote, Dr. Jaya John, who will be spreading his message of healing and the sacred you. And lastly, we'll finish off the day with getting a national perspective of home visiting from Dr. Deb Darrow, who we had the pleasure of hearing from before. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first speaker, Kim Belcher. She is the Executive Director of First 5 LA since November 2012. So Kim, thank you so much for being here, and you have the screen.
How cool is that? Thank you, Charlene. And hello and welcome everyone to what amazingly is our 5th Family Strengthening Summit. I send you all my virtual best wishes, and I send you a virtual welcome hug to all 600 and growing of you. It is hard to believe that it's been a year since we came together. And as we often are saying now, you know, what a year these past 4 or so months have been. Our personal and professional lives have really been challenged in unprecedented ways since COVID-19. And as Charlene said, today provides a really important opportunity for us to take a break, to pause and reflect, and to recognize and celebrate what have been some remarkable accomplishments by this group of home visiting leaders on behalf of children and women throughout our county. We're gathering virtually, we are working virtually, but the shared bond we bring in terms of our pride and purpose as it relates to home visiting, its impact for children and families is something that I think really bridges our connection no matter where we may be at this moment and in our day-to-day work. Today is about honoring you, appreciating you, celebrating you, and I'm confident it's a day that we will all be inspired by you and your work. COVID-19 in so many ways has shaken important foundations upon which we all stand personally and professionally, but our home visitors and the broader network have really built them back up with very family-focused, safety-first compassion for families, and providing families with the kind of services and supports and connections and navigating systems that have never been more vital and more important. I have been so impressed and so proud by this community of leaders pivot in recent months to phone and virtual visits. It has been a thing to behold in terms of your nimbleness and your adaptability and the commitment and focus to families and family strengthening that you've been bringing. It's been terrific to see the steady increases in virtual and telephonic visits in recent months, and I'm confident that we'll continue to see significant increases as both home visitors and families gain more comfort with the technology and the protocols to allow you to connect with families safely and effectively. I've also been extraordinarily impressed by your nimbleness as it relates to the community coming together along with so many organizations, LABBN, Baby to Baby, WIC, and the Best Start Regional Network, to provide over 1 million diapers being distributed across our county to families in need. Beyond the adaptability you've all demonstrated in the context of COVID-19, there's also been some remarkable successes this past year that I do want us to pause and acknowledge and celebrate. We've been seeing, for example, really powerful progress in the diversifying of the funding sources that support our home visiting systems and strengthen the systems and provider networks for families. I want to commend the Department of Mental Health as an example and its funding of home visiting since 2018. And for the department's support as new funding streams have entered the field, including a 3-year commitment from the California Home Visiting Program and the significant expansion of CalWorks. We're also seeing some really exciting partnerships with health plans, such as in the Antelope Valley with the Blue Shield Promise Health Plan, which is piloting a really exciting approach, which involves automatic physician referrals for newly expecting moms to receive beneficial home visiting services. And we're delighted to share that Promise Health Plan has agreed to start providing reimbursement for clients who receive home visiting prenatally and up to 90 days postpartum, whether it be Welcome Baby, Healthy Families America, or Parents as Teachers. And of course, we're proud to stand behind the new paid home visitor apprenticeship program, which is helping home visitors explore new pathways and preparing an eligible, trained, and ready to hire home visitor workforce. These successes are your successes, And they're the product of years of hard work by you to put families first. It's a product of deep reflection and learning about what families need and what families value. It reflects a deep commitment to continuous quality improvement to better serve and serve more families. And it reflects an adaptive mindset and approach. But I think most fundamentally, and this has really grounded our work in recent months, our work together is the product of strong, trust-based relationships. Across home visitors, partner organizations, county agencies, and funders, mission-driven, trust-based relationships have really made the difference. First 5 LA is so proud to be a part of this network. We look forward to continuing to support our shared efforts to strengthen public and community systems and practices for families, to tell the home visiting story, to advocate and drive policy change, and to reduce racial disparities and inequities. We thank you. We thank Best Babies LABBN for hosting this 2020 summit and for making a profound difference in the home visiting community and in the health and well-being of pregnant women and their babies. We thank and welcome our new first-time attendees, including our county's Nurse Family Partnership and Mama's neighborhood programs that are helping to grow our summit and to extend home visiting's reach to more families in our county. And we thank you, our many returning home visitors and teams, managers, supervisors, organizations, and hospital leaders representing the more than 40 grantees, as well as our county departments of public health, public supportive services, mental health, as well as First 5 LA and our California home visiting program. To be sure, I'm so disappointed that the necessity of this year's virtual approach means I can't gaze out at this amazing room at the Taglione complex and see dozens and dozens and dozens of tables and beaming faces full of pride and commitment. But we know that's okay because we know it's not the place that makes the difference, it's the people. So I thank you for making a difference day in and day out, remotely and on site. Regardless of where you are changing lives, and we thank you for that. It's now my pleasure to introduce the chair of our First 5 LA Commission, LA County Supervisor Sheila Kuhl, who has a particularly important and special connection to home visiting that she'll share. We're grateful that she took a moment to pre-record a special greeting that celebrates you as we get today's summit underway. So I will turn it over to Supervisor Kuhl.
Hi, I'm LA County Supervisor Sheila Kuhl, and I'm really grateful to be able to join you today via video. I was proud to author the home visiting motion that created LA County's home visiting system. And so this first ever home visiting virtual summit is really meaningful to me. Although many of you are probably sick of so many virtual meetings, long term, one of the silver linings of this pandemic may be our recognition that virtual interaction can often be as effective as an in-person interaction. And nowhere is that more evident than with our home visiting program. When in-person resources became difficult to access, you found innovative ways to support families meet their basic needs, as well as meeting the challenge of depression and general mental health. Your work is supporting parents and empowering them so they can support their child's growth and development. Thank you for your great work and for taking the time to be informed and inspired by today's speakers. Enjoy.
So thank you so much to Kim for her inspirational words. It's always a pleasure to hear you and see you, Kim. And thank you for the words of appreciation for LABBN and for the county, the different partners, the different models that we have present, and of course for all the home visitors today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Christina Altmeier. I've had the pleasure, especially the last few months, to work very closely with Christina. She is the VP of Programs at First 5. Christina, it's all you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this home visiting summit. It is definitely a different world doing it virtually, but our enthusiasm for the work that you are all doing is no less than when we celebrated about a year ago in person. And I am so thrilled with the theme for today's session, honoring you. This is about honoring the participants in our home visiting system. You all that make the system come to life, your commitment, your dedication. You are a force for good for the children and families in LA County. And we could not be improving outcomes for children and families without your dedication, without your support, without your inventiveness and creativity to work in this crazy COVID world. And all throughout that craziness, we have seen your commitment to families coming through. So as Kim said, on behalf of First 5 LA, I personally just want to give a huge shout out. Thank you for all of the work that you have been doing. Building on Supervisor Kuhl's comments, she talked about building this system of universal home visiting for families. And that doesn't happen unless we have some foundational partnerships. At the beginning, at the bottom of Charlene's screen, when we were first opening up, you saw the logos of all these different agencies that have come together. And what that demonstrates is that it's going to take many hands to lift this work. And it's going to take the partnership of so many important organizations to really have a transformative impact on the lives of children and families, and really connect moms and the families with the support that they need. So I am so thrilled this morning to introduce one of our key partners, Elizabeth Molinari, who is an MSW who has really been leading the work for the Department of Public Social Services to implement the home visiting program for our CalWorks beneficiaries. She is a driver of this change. She is responsible for the home visiting program, implementing and doing all the necessary planning and policy work and programmatic work. And she is such an important champion in this work. So I am excited and proud to introduce Elizabeth Molinari.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Christina. That was very nice, very kind of you. I definitely want to say on behalf of DPSS, we're very excited to participate for the first time. Thank you so much for the invitation. So as Christina mentioned, I'm the analyst responsible for what we call HVP, CalWorks HVP. We offer 3 models in our program: Nurse-Family Partnership, Healthy Families America, and Parents as Teachers. We began the implementation rollout on March 29th, 2019, and currently all of the 3 models are up and running countywide. But I'm going to take you back to the beginning. We relied very heavily on First 5 LA and the Department of Public Health, who was our partner in this venture, and they sat down with us over a year or more and helped us lay the framework for HVP. And we're involved in every step of the planning process. Currently, DPH and DPSS communicate on a daily basis, whether it's for implementation issues, managing, problem solving, and planning for the future. But I want to mention very specifically one of the most significant collaborative products, and that has to do with the HFA and PAT agencies. The first is the collaboration between the 2 departments and the agencies with the transition of home visiting clients and staff from the DMH funding stream to the HVP funding stream. And this was no easy task. The agencies work with DPH to identify transfer eligible clients to HVP with just a little bit of guidance from us. They really did most of the heavy lifting. And the second is something that's ongoing and constant. So home visitors across all 3 models often identify potential clients out in the community, and they work closely with DPH and DPSS to determine eligibility for the program. And if they're encountering folks who are not enrolled in CalWorks, which is the primary eligibility criteria, they work with us and encourage the participants to apply for CalWorks. And just so you know, folks who have a pending CalWorks application are eligible for HVP. If that application is subsequently denied, we can still keep them in the program for the duration. So we only need them to have, at minimum, applied for CalWorks. And as all the speakers before me mentioned, COVID-19 has been extremely challenging as far as service delivery. And I have to say, for me in administration, it seemed like the work that DPH and all the staff of the models did to make the virtual visits happen was seamless. And it really seemed as, the first time I asked the question, what are we doing? They were automatically able to tell me. So we moved very quickly into virtual. And I know that the visits started over the telephone, and we're able to move to Skype, FaceTime, other secure platforms that the families have access to. And the whole, issue was that services were not broken. We were able to continue to meet the needs, and home visitors continued to focus on relationship building and bonding with the families. And I do want to mention that Pat recognized the importance of telehealth and ensuring that staff were trained and very well prepared to deliver services virtually. So that was wonderful. And we really appreciate the fact that, at least on our end, it really did seem that it just happened instantaneously, and they seem to be very successful. So hopes for this fiscal year. The state has actually put a significant increase in the allocation as compared to last fiscal year, and we're very excited about that. We are still pending the award notification, but we're hopeful, we're confident. And what we'd like to do in light of the funding increase is make sure that we can increase the number of families that we can serve by increasing the number of home visitors for each of the models. We also plan to implement full-scale services from clinical social workers to support the home visitors in all models. We are starting a marketing advertising venture. DPH is preparing a solicitation for a professional media campaign, and we're very excited about that. We have already developed a video for use on the DPS and the DPH social media platforms, and that video hopefully will be launching in early August. We're also preparing quite a few special mailers like thinking of you cards to actively engage in a little bit more of an effective way than we have been doing with flyers. And lastly, one of the goals this year, we want to make sure that we have created effective coordination of services between the GSWs, the gain services workers, and the home visitors, and making sure that the family's needs remain the focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Really appreciated your comments and the statement of your commitment and DPSS's commitment to advancing home visiting in LA County. We're excited for the innovations that you're embracing and leading. I'm pleased now to introduce our next key partner, Dr. Debbie Allen from the Department of Public Health. The Department of Public Health has a long history in supporting home visiting, both through Nurse-Family Partnership and other programs, PAT, HFA, and they are a strong champion for young children and for maternal health. Dr. Debbie Allen is a relatively newcomer to LA County, but she's brought her energy and commitment that she developed in Boston for young children here to LA, and we are so excited to have her leadership. She is a strong champion for reducing health disparities and for particularly among African American and infants between their white counterparts. And with Dr. Barbara Ferrer as the head of the Department of Public Health, they have embraced a commitment to closing health disparities through the Center for Health Equity. We are so excited to have her here today and to have her leadership skills brought to LA County to improve outcomes for children and families. With that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Debbie Allen.
Thanks so much, Christina, and I want to thank both Christina and Elizabeth for their words indicating the overall commitment of the county and our partners to home visiting. And I want to highlight, and I think Elizabeth did a wonderful job describing sort of where we are in our partnership. I want to highlight where we are in sort of the larger world, and in particular, the sort of combination of forces that are inspiring and encouraging, and forces that are incredibly challenging right now for families and for those of us who are concerned about families. I think the sort of dual pressures or dual experiences of the COVID-19 epidemic and what it has done to the lives and the stresses that families experience has been a tremendous challenge for all of our systems. At a time when families need us most, we have been constrained in our ability to reach out to them. And I think Elizabeth's point about the transition to virtual platforms is a really critical one. I think we need to figure out how to keep that option open in the future for families for whom distance or preference may make that the preferable option, while returning to in-person and the warmth that comes with in-person, and then perhaps in some cases hybrid models for some families. So that on the one hand, and on the other hand, I think the combined tremendous distress over the sort of snowballing incidents of racist violence that we've seen on the media, and the distress that persistent observation of what's been an underlying long-term truth in our society, but that confronts us every day on the media. And on the other hand, the incredible outpouring of response to that and the much broader social acknowledgement of racism, certainly on the part of white people, I think is cause for hope for the future. I'm also very encouraged to see that there's a proposal afoot nationally to really invest in what I think people are understanding to be one manifestation of racism in our country is lack of support for low-income families, and propose legislation that would infuse a tremendous amount of money into caregiving for young children and for elders, which are pressures that the families you work with experience, I think, at both ends. So I think it's a time when we know that differences in health between Blacks and whites in this country, which are really emblematic of differences that have to do with different social experience. In this country, it's Black and white. In other countries, and in this country too, to an extent, it's also differences by class and income. And we know that social support and a sense of connection are antidotes to the stresses involved in inequalities in health outcomes. And you are on the front line of that support. So at a time when it's been harder and harder to carry out the work as we've done it in the past, that support is more and more critical. It is extremely exciting for me personally to be in a county where the commitment to that, the awareness of that importance and the commitment to that is part of the context in which public health operates. And I want to, speaking for the Department of Public Health, really affirm our commitment. We have some positive news about infusions of funding for home visiting. We have some losses this year. We hope we will come out ahead in the end. But we want to really stress our long-term commitment to a home visiting system that embraces every family that needs it in Los Angeles County, whether they are families living on the street, families facing health problems, families living with high levels of social stress, families where the mom works at a job that imposes tremendous stress on her. We want to have models available that can reach all of those families and support growth and development in the models that we have. So thank you all for the work that you do. We look forward to working with you and building on it and really seeing a comprehensive, all-inclusive system of home visiting throughout Los Angeles County. Thanks so much, Christina.
A big thank you to Christina and to Liz Molinari and Dr. Allen for their kind words as well. We're going to get moving with our agenda, but before we do, I just want to take us back to a Mentimeter question before I introduce our next speakers. So I'm going to do another screen share with all of you. And the question is, given everything that has happened this year, what are you most grateful for? Got a lot of responses coming in already. So again, the question, if you're just joining us, menti.com, you can use the code 778027. And the question is, given everything that has happened this year, what are you most grateful for? Job, family, health, stability, pets, art, community, family, faith, technology. Yes. My wings. Ooh, I love that. Popcorn. All right. Being able to wake up in the morning, opportunity, stability, mental health, virtual connection, supportive team, shelter and love. That's great. Really appreciate everyone taking a moment to answer this question. Give it another 10 seconds. A lot of wonderful responses here coming through. Oh, I love the heart emojis. All right, one more question. Using one word, what is your biggest strength? Your biggest strength. And while you're completing this question on the menti.com site, I do want to give the Family Strengthening Oversight a quick shout out for helping put on this event, even if we decided to do it a month ago. Really appreciative to our funders, to the oversight entity, which includes MCH Access, PACLAC, Work to Live, First Five, and then since you're forced to listen to me, you know how I feel about LABBN. I think we're kind of great. So I really want to take a moment and appreciate the team as well for everything that they've done. With end of year reports and going virtual and telehealth and all of that, it was quite an accomplishment for us to be able to put on this event. We were really excited about it. Didn't want to miss an opportunity to celebrate all of you. So thank you to the LABBN team for all your hard work as well for this event. Okay, so the question was, using one word, what's your biggest strength? Empathy, resilience, patience, flexibility, determination, kindness, optimism, numbers. Yes, numbers are a good strength. Being calm and open-minded. I care. Supportive, motivation. Great. Well, thank you everyone for partaking in that question. I'm going to stop my screen share so I can introduce our next speakers.